Hey everyone, welcome to Just Being Booky. This is part 3 of going through my bookshelf. We're just gonna head right into where I left off. This one is called The Last Dragon Slayer, which I don't know if it's actually about like a dragon slayer or not, because if it is, and it's about slaying dragons, I'm not gonna like it, because I like dragons. But I'm hoping that it's something like The Return of Dragons or something. Then this one, another dragon one, it's called Dragon Rider. I think this is the same author as Inkheart, which is why I got it, because I was like, oh, same author, I think I'm gonna like it. So, I'm hoping it's just as good. Then this one, called Brave in the Woods. I really like the cover, the way that it has the little glowing yellow things. And that reminds me of Harry Potter, Patronus. If you've watched Harry Potter or read Harry Potter, you know what I'm talking about. Alright, this one is part of a series, I believe, called Elemental. And I'm pretty sure it's like, yeah. Like, it's about people born with the powers of elements, but he's like the odd one out, which is pretty common trope type thing with like, oh, everyone else has this, but then this kid's born without stuff. But we'll see if this author does it well. And this one is a classic, A Wind in the Door. I've not read it yet, not even sure exactly what it's about, but when it comes to classics, I usually just get it anyway, because especially when it's at the thrift store and it's like 50 cents. This one I have read. It's called Hamilton and Peggy. It's a historical fiction and is really good. I'm trying not to go in depth or talk about it too much because I'm going to be doing reviews. This one, the cover kind of gets me a little creeped out when I look at it closely, but maybe it's not that creepy. I'm hoping not. But it's called Paradox, and that's a little, I don't know. Find out eventually. Alright. This one is a special edition cover! Like an announcer. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, the one that the other one has stuff about. I have not actually read it yet, but the cover is so pretty. Tell me that isn't pretty, and if you do, you're wrong. Sorry. No offense. But that's so shiny, and I love the way that it is. All those covers that you see at like Barnes & Noble or something that's like this with all those classics, they are too pretty. Oh yeah. And the pages are glossy. Not glossy. They're shiny. These ones, Sherlock Holmes, complete collection of Sherlock Holmes Volume 1 and Volume 2. I don't know if any of you have watched Enola Holmes, but I personally love it, and so I figured that I'd like the actual Sherlock stuff. I know some of it can be probably pretty intense, but I'm gonna read it anyway. And then this one, Ranger's Apprentice, The Ruins of Gorlon. I've seen this recommended for Christians who like fantasy. I don't know if it has any Christian themes in it, or if it's just appropriate or something. Not sure. But apparently there's a lot of books, and I've seen some of them at the store. This one, also a classic, Where the Red Fern Grows. I came across it multiple times at the thrift store, then I just decided to get it because it's a classic and I probably will like it anyway. And this one's a really pretty edition of The Secret Garden. I just love the simplicity and the classic look of it. The only thing I don't like is that the pages are too bright for a classic for me. I love it when it has like the yellowed and like old look, but apparently when you're trying to make it look a classic, the pages have to look brand new. This was also at a thrift store. This one, another pretty classic, A Tale of Two Cities. I've not read this one, but it was pretty and it's a classic, so I got it. This one, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I had a lot of classics like Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer, stuff like that, in the Great Illustrated Classic Edition. And then I started looking for the actual versions, and this is one of the ones that I found. Yeah, case in point, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer. There's no title on the front, so. But it's pretty interesting. It's like a basic design. I think they do this for some of the other ones designed by the same people, because I think there's one that's like the same way or same style. And this one, I don't know exactly what it's about. It's called Madame Bovary, but it was in the same stack as the other ones, so and it's always pretty, so got that going for it regardless. This one, also no thing on the front. The Moon and Sixpence, another one I have known nothing about, it just had that pretty thing. Then this one is the original Sherlock Holmes thing that I got, same style as the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea book, but Sherlock Holmes. And it's still really pretty, and I never finished reading it, but it's just one section of Sherlock Holmes, so when I saw those, I was like, oh, I'm getting them. We have gone through 2 parts of my bookshelf. Finally! It's only taken me 54 minutes! Yay! Alright, this stack right here, Barnes & Noble Hall. Old Barnes & Noble Hall. This one, never heard of it, but it sounded really good. It's called I Lived on Butterfly Hill, and also, I love the name. This one is also one that I hadn't heard of, called Free Water. Also sounded really good, and also a pretty cover. This one is one of the 3 that's left from Barnes & Noble that I had been specifically looking for because of seeing about them. This one's Hummingbird, which sounded inspirational, of course. This one is also an historical fiction called The World That Saved My Life. I'm pretty sure that this one is also pretty popular. But also, I'm glad that I got this cover because when I looked it up on the Barnes & Noble website, it had a different one and it was more cartoony and like 3D cartoon, and I didn't really like it. But well, compared, like I didn't hate it, but I'd rather this one. But then when I got there, this was the one that was there. And then this one, Fish in a Tree, the last one that I got that day from Barnes & Noble that I had been looking for because I thought that it sounded really good. Book 3, 4, 5 maybe of Artemis Fowl, but I'm pretty sure that it might be up my alley, and they're also super shiny. I like it. This one, Scholastic, called Towers Falling, which is based on 9/11, which means it's bound to be emotional. I'm hiding myself slowly with books. This add-on book from Harry Potter for Quidditch Through the Ages. And this one, And We're Off. Never heard anything about it, but it sounded cool, and I like the colors, so I got it. This one, A Dog's Way Home by W. Bruce Cameron. I'm pretty sure he's a pretty popular author. One of my friends loves his stuff a lot, especially the ones like Max's Story, and I just forgot the names of all the other ones, but the ones about the dogs specifically, mini books. This one, if it sounded familiar when I found it, but I'm not even sure because the description doesn't sound as familiar as the title. Called When You Reach Me by Rebecca Steed, and it sounds pretty interesting. This one is classic Love's Long Journey and Love's Abiding Joy combination. I don't even think I've heard of it, but it's classic, like I said. And this one, Story Thieves, which sounded pretty interesting because it's about books. It's a book about books and being in a story. So, sounded pretty darn cool to me. And then, just forgot because I got Story Thieves and then The Thief Lord in the same day. Also by the same author as Inkheart and The Dragon Rider that I showed you. That's that side. And then this one, interesting. It's called Magic, spelled that way. I don't know what exactly it entails, but it's nice and floppy. And We Must Be Brave. I'm pretty sure this is another historical fiction. In this one, if you look at it for too long, it looks weird on the cover, but it's called Stone Voice Rising, which sounded pretty interesting. Yeah, I know, I'm leaving this vague, but I don't want to take up all the time in the world just to talk about what I read on the back and what I think about it. This one's a heavy one, even though it's not as thick as some of my books. It's called Timeless, Diego and the Rangers of the Vast Atlantic. I think it's kind of like basically a dual timeline type book where it's like the past and the future combined into one, which I think is pretty interesting. And it's got like a bunch of cool illustration type stuff. and apparently someone highlighted in here at some point. I don't know if that will lead me to some foreshadowing. Then this one, also an historical fiction, called. Oh wait, maybe this is actually based on a true story. I'm not sure, but it's called The Perfect Horse, which is a story, the daring rescue of horses kidnapped during World War II, which makes me think that it might be based on a true story, but maybe not directly. I'm not sure yet. See all these? Minus these two and that one. And most of these are Chicken Soup for the Soul books, which are inspirational stories mainly based in Christian perspective and stuff like that. And so I don't think I want to take all of those out. So first, I'm going to be telling you the ones that aren't Chicken Soup for the Soul. Take those ones out. And then I'll just tell you the titles that I have of that. And the rest, besides these three, are Chicken Soup for the Soul. And the three that I'm not taking out as well is a coloring Bible, a studying Bible, and a comic Bible. This one, Case for a Creator, book by the same person for the Case for Christ, and the Case for Faith, not face. This one is The Pilgrim's Progress, another classic edition that's super pretty. Heaven is for Real. I think we watched the movie at one point, so I got the book. Yes. This is out of order. Grab this one. The Chosen, the book version. If you watch The Chosen and you love it, we're on the same team. I saw the rest book, because this is book 1 and 2. I saw the rest 3 and 4 at Barnes & Noble, and it took me all my willpower not to spend over my gift card amount that I had for that day to get them. One is Quark and the Jaguar, which is adventures in the simple and the complex, basically like showing the relations and how complicated things and simple things can still intertwine to make things. And now I'm going to put these ones back and just tell you the titles of the Chicken Soup for the Soul, because I am not taking that whole shelf out. And so I have, because it's like Chicken Soup for the whatever is in front of it, soul. So I have Chicken Soup for the Girl's Soul, just a fourth course of Chicken Soup for the Soul, Chicken Soup for the Soul, cat stories, Unsinkable Soul, On Love and Friendship, Christian Soul 2, fifth portion, I got a Chicken Soup for the Soul cookbook. I don't know what's in it yet, but I'm pretty sure it'll be cool. Mother and Daughter, Teenage Soul on Tough Stuff, Cat and Dog Lover Soul, Teenage Soul 3. I have ones like the preteen, kids, and child soul, because the stories in them are still really good. Just they're more catered to the younger audience, but they're still good. So I also have Christian Soul in general, third serving, and a duplicate fourth serving that I didn't realize I had. Yeah, the Kid Soul, Cat Lover Soul, just the first Chicken Soup for the Soul, sixth serving, Pet Lovers. This one, I don't know if it's the same people, because it's called Taste Berries for Teens, which sounds a little cheesy, but let's see what they have in there eventually. Then Chicken Soup for the Soul, Listen to Your Dreams, The Real Deal, Nature Lovers, Ocean Lovers, Caregiver, and Think Positive, another teenage one, and then Second Helping, and then Christmas one. Congratulate me, we made it through 3 of the shelves. Alright, so now we only have these 2 shelves left, plus the 2 cubes over there that are filled in my other shelf. Alright, first we have Edge of Extinction, The Ark Plan. So this apparently is like an alternate reality type thing. Well, I mean, it's the same reality, but it's like a what-if situation with dinosaurs. And this one, I think it's a classic. It's the Katydid books. Have not read it yet. I also haven't read that one that I just did with The Edge of Extinction. And this one is also a classic, The Yearling. Never Cry Wolf, a small one, but it seems pretty interesting with about a wolf and a woman or girl. And then Wings of Fire, I know this is incredibly popular, so I got the first book to see if I liked it. Still haven't read it yet. First book of Warriors, which is also very popular, and I figured since I liked animals and cats and nature stuff that I'd probably end up liking it. And this one is called Dragon Ops. Basically, it's a game, but it's also real at the same time. That's what I got put together from the back. Then the classic, The Hobbit. This has also been popular, especially because it was made into a movie. I haven't watched or read it. And this one, The Game of Sunken Places. I don't remember what this one's about because there's no description. I don't even know why I ended up getting it if there's no description. There's nothing on the back, and there's nothing inside. Thank you for watching part 3 of my going through my bookshelf. I'll see you in part 4.